Hey, this is Max. Welcome to my Raid Shadow Legends video adventures. I am here with a new game, which I was kind of tempted into downloading because of CSR2 ads. And once I started looking at the intro here, it kind of made me interested. I like fantasy-style RPGs, having played a lot of them in the past, including tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, World of Warcraft, and certainly Skyrim and all the Elder Scrolls series. So I was always kind of looking for some kind of app game that gives me a little bit of that feel. And the intro here is pretty cool. You get these champions that came running in to attack a dragon, and naturally they didn't make it. So they die, and the Arbiter right here, the Arbiter, who incidentally you can get as a character apparently, but the Arbiter says, well, they didn't make it, it's up to you now. Typical beginning, right? Suck you in, hey, you're the hero, you get in here, you do what you gotta do, and pay us some money in the meantime. But anyway, it's an interesting looking game. The character designs look cool, the graphics is nice, and it seems like it's a turn-based RPG style, which I'm okay with, so I decided to go ahead and jump in head first into this game and see what I can do. So you got to pick your first character, so I picked the Dark Elf because he looks cool, and let's go. Alright, so I've been playing this game for a bit. I didn't want to make you guys watch through the beginning struggles, because all it really is you start off with a quick tutorial, and then once they teach you a little bit about combat, putting armor on, and upgrading basic stuff, the game kind of toss you in and say, go do your thing. Now, first 90 days, I'm not sure because I haven't played past 90 days, but first 90 days you get some nice rewards with daily logins. Hopefully something like this sticks around after 90 days. I guess I'll find out. But you get all this stuff. You get books, you get rings, you get energy, which is actually pretty important. You run out of energy pretty quick once you really get heavy duty into grinding. You get shards, which is important. So let's talk about what this game is all about. Since it's an RPG, what it starts off as is you need characters, right? You need basically all the characters, and the point of getting characters is so you can build a team. And there are a lot of characters in this game. Look at this. There are different factions, and each faction has different characters. Like this guy from the Dwarves, Grumbler. They all look pretty cool. I do really enjoy the graphics as far as the design of these characters. They have very much of a, I wouldn't say World of Warcraft look, but definitely a good fantasy RPG style look. Something that harkens back to stuff from Dungeons and Dragons and others. So it's definitely a cool looking character design. I like it better than anime style games. So I'm not into the anime art style for video games. So this is more my thing than the anime style characters. So that's one of the draws for me. They all have skills. Some of them have what they call an aura, which affects your whole team, and then they have individual skills that can affect how the character plays. Percentages and cooldown increases. This is a turn-based game, so every turn you only get to do something, and if you use a skill, there's a cooldown of so many turns. And obviously different level of characters have different level of abilities and stats. So you start off at the lowest level with the common guys. These guys are basically, well, he's actually uncommon, which is a 2-star to start with. They basically come with 1 or 2 skills. They're usually pretty weak skills, but not always useless. And it takes a bunch of books to upgrade them. That's what those little blue books are for. The blue books here, these what you see, are used in the tavern to upgrade, right? So you want to upgrade your guy, and they have a lot of levels of upgrades, so it takes a while to upgrade them all. Each of these took a book, and each of these have different kinds of book. Now, this one is called an epic tomb, so that gives you an idea, right? You have different types of stats for different characters. You get different levels of stats, different levels of upgrades. So while it's great to have a legendary character, you need a special book to upgrade them, and that's these guys, and that's going to be super hard to get. These are already hard to get, and these are not crazy hard in the beginning, but I don't know how in the long term how hard it will be to get these two. It looks like most of these are given as initially mission rewards at some point. You'll see books and stuff pop up as part of possible mission rewards, including, right there's one, right? That's one way to get it. There's two of these if you get to like 75 in part 4, 5, or 6. So that's going to take a while. Then you have challenges that you can finish, but again, there's only so many. After a certain number of levels of challenges, you're done. But you get a decent amount of books in the meantime. Part 2 of 5, that's what I was looking for. So that will get run. So beginning progression in the game is pretty fun. I'm having a good time. This is a gacha style game. So what you're going to need to do is you need to get your characters through these things, right? Just like crates in CSR, they have a statistical chance of giving you something. The green ones give you junk, less junky junk, and then possibly decent stuff 1.4% of the time. And then the primary one that you're going to end up getting if you're playing mostly free will be this one once in a while. And you can get this from random drops. You can get it from daily quests. You get one a week. You get it from your daily login. At least the first 90 days you get a few. You get them from event rewards if you do these events. And these events can take up quite a bit of your resources to do, but here's a possibility right there too. And you could buy it with these in the shop if you save up enough. So the gem shop has these packs that let you buy 3 of these 60,000 for 270, or 11 of these 220k for 900. So that's another thing. But you also probably end up using this for this because you're going to run out of energy if you play hard enough. So those are all the different things, and they have tournaments. These tournaments are kind of fun too. If you place a certain amount of points, you get a bunch of rewards. Plus, you can get gems, okay, and you can get finally a character if you get number 1. But guys that try to get number 1 are probably grinding pretty hard. So my tournament position keeps bumping down because, you know, I'm not able to keep up. Now, luck of the draw has been pretty favorable to me. I got a legendary champion outright. In fact, I got this one, I think, in one of the first blue shards I pulled, and she turns out to be a pretty decent champion too from player reviews. And they recommend certain type of artifacts. That's your gear. I unfortunately don't have that type of artifact that they recommended yet built. I just got some recently, but they're not really all that great. So this one's actually pretty good with the speed. So I may re-gear her at some point. Right now I'm just geared her with attack stuff, even though she's the support champion. But this is my main attack guy. This is the first character I got. Notice he started off as 3 stars, and I got him up to 4 stars. I'm going to push him to 5 soon. So the whole game revolves around upgrading your guys to 6 stars and finding good gear for your guys that are at least 5 stars or better, and then mix and matching a team, right? Because this is an RPG style game and it's a turn-based battle, so you need a matchable team. But there are a few roles I noticed with this game. One is a lot of grinding and farming. What farming is basically you're building low-level characters up so you can eventually burn them to upgrade your good characters. So that's what farming is. And you need a farmer, which is a character that can pull them through battles without dying and build experience points quickly. That's another part of the game that's real important. You also have what they call affinity. So these guys are strong against these guys, who are strong against these guys, and those guys are strong against you. So you don't want to use this guy against a bunch of Red Skull dudes because he's going to get killed. But it's not so bad if you go against a bunch of guys with lightning bolts. So that's kind of one of the things you want to keep an eye on when you're matching against other opponents. The game allows autoplay, which is great. That's actually another reason why I actually stuck with it. Because once you have a certain level of character with a certain amount of gear upgrades, some of these levels become pretty easy. You don't have to really manage them. You just let the computer play it. And that makes the grinding a lot less painful, because if I had to physically look at each battle and then click on every button for each attack, it would drive me crazy in the long run. So this fact that they gave you an auto play is kind of a lifesaver here, because I can actually play other games and just turn over to this whenever the music says it's done. Then I just go, okay, it's done, great, click, next one. So the grinding feels less painful in this game, which is nice. And this is pretty common with this style games, I think, to give you autoplay as an option. If they don't, and it's that grindy, I'm most likely going to quit. So this isn't too bad. As you can see, I'm using him, who's strong enough to kind of burn right through these guys, to build up these guys for stats. Right? Because I got to get to max level before I can upgrade them more. He's already at max level, so I need to burn 4 4-star champions to build him to 5 stars. That's what I'm actually building up. This guy I'm building up to 5 stars because eventually I'm going to need 5 5-stars to get to 1 6-star. So everything is about getting to that 6-star with one of the characters. The other thing about RPG style games, which I love, is you always have to build a team. And with this game, there's a complication that you only pull what you pull, and then you're stuck. The good news is, in the beginning, they give you your main character, and then they give you this one for free, and she's a healer. And you always want to have a healer on hand. Although she's not the greatest of healers, the problem is she only does healing once every 4 turns, and she only heals 20% for one guy and 10% for the rest. 10% of even 13,000 is like 1,300 points. And I can tell you some of these opponents will hit you for more than that in one hit. So that's not the greatest of benefits, but at least having a healer is helpful. There are a lot better healers in the game that I could possibly get, but you know, luck has to be on your side. Like, let's take a look at some of the good ones. For example, oh, there's this fat, ugly thing here. Oh, right there. Yeah. Check this guy out. Okay. He looks like a pig with armor. That's probably what he is. Some kind of hog. But Mr. Fat Hog here has a 40% heal. And it could go down to 3 turns. And it could go up to 50%. 50%, and it does something else. It removes debuffs. This game has a lot of debuffs and buffs, and again, you need a team, especially when you fight bosses. In fact, let's look at that and I'll explain what all the buff and debuff situation is with these. So all these bosses that you try to fight has buffs and debuffs. Notice I don't have a healer in my team. And that's a weakness, because I just don't have a good healer, and putting her in for the boss fight and taking out some of the others really hurts me. However, I got this girl in, and she could remove debuffs once in a while. Not every turn, but she can remove debuffs, and it becomes really important. Because when you get through the initial mobs, these weak, you know, just to kind of burn up your skills a little bit. Now, again, on auto, I noticed some about the AI. The AI is really dumb. It'll burn its best skill on something that's almost dead just to do it. And then, you know, the turn-based stuff doesn't stop just because you finish a round. Your burned skills are still burned. Notice they're still on cooldown. So when the computer burns all your skills on the weak enemies and you get to the boss, you got no good skills. Now you're just using your basic skill, which is not always bad, but never as good as the special skills. The other thing is, it has a certain pattern. It wants to always kill these two before it'll even attack the boss. Notice that your guys will always attack these two guys before he hits him. That's not always a bad thing, but sometimes leaving one of these guys up isn't a bad idea while you're wearing him down, because this one gives a big debuff. This one does give a debuff, but he's not as important, and wearing out the boss is actually kind of important. So alright, watch all the buffs and debuffs going on here. All the red are debuffs. You can actually watch the info live on this screen, which is cool. And this stuff is what gets the nerdy guys going. Okay, it's all about the stats, man. the numbers, the percentages, the rounds, the countdown. So this is where advanced gaming of this game really comes into play. Is all the stats. You're watching the stats. You always want to see your guys. Oh my God, he died already. You always want to have your guys all buffed up and this guy all debuffed, if at all possible. But that requires you to analyze each of your character's skills, buffs and debuffs, to figure out if in fact they have the ability to put the buffs and debuffs down. Now, I just wasted like 5 attacks when I could have been wearing that guy down. But that's the AI at work. Oh, I might lose this one now. This isn't good. Alright. So I'm going to have to turn down him. Oh, didn't work. And I'm frozen. Oh, that's really good. Okay, well, let's just keep shooting him, because at this point I need him done. Heal reduction's bad, and that means I can't heal myself. But hey, guess what? I'll have a healer. Alright, hold on. Let me see. We can do this. Just shoot him. If I have a chance here to take him out before... Let me think. Do I want to... Yeah, I want to speed up. This will boost my turn speed, so I get another hit in. As long as I can... Oh, this is going to be rough. Oh, man, I may not make it. Eesh. Good thing is, he's weak against her from an affinity standpoint. So she does a lot more damage to him. And I just gave him all the debuff back to him. Here, take my debuff. Alright, so I made it. That was kind of tight because the computer's dumb. But this character and this character both have pretty good skills. But you notice making a balanced team is very important. And also your team level, your team gear, everything comes into play. And that's part of the actual fun of the game, is actually reading the stats, reading the powers, figuring out what they do, figuring out what guy balances good with what other guy, and then building specific teams for specific challenges. Like these dungeons, you're going to have to grind them tons and tons of times. So you want to have a team for each, ultimately. That's the preferable. Or an all-around team that just kind of plows through the whole thing. You can also eventually get to clan boss. Joining a clan early probably helps, because they give rewards based on what you do with the clan boss. You definitely want to do these and get some rewards. It's not always great, but it's something to have. And then eventually your characters will be powerful enough to really do a lot. I am not into the PvP in this game, quite frankly. This stuff is, you do it because you have to for the daily, but you don't really do much. And quite frankly, this is just a team of some guys set up and it's controlled by the computer. So it's not true PvP. There's no, I'm trying to strategically think against the other guy. The other guy's played by the computer, so they just use the same pattern. So I don't sense that being all that fun and challenging. So the real challenge, the real fun here is this. It's a collection game. You collect characters. And some of these characters are beautifully done. The way they did the graphics is quite nice. I really like this medieval fantasy look. The armor looks good. The character design looks good. I mean, look at her. Quite nice. Who the hell goes into battle with that outfit? But hey, guess what? I don't mind. Some of these guys and gals look just awesome. Even their non-human characters are really cool. Like if you look at some of the ogre and tribe characters, right? These are ogres. Hey, where's Shrek? There's got to be a green one that looks like Shrek somewhere. But all right, nope, guess not. But look at these guys. Oh, there's Shamrock. That's funny. Ogre with Shamrock. I would like to get him just to have him, but look at that rating. Oh, apparently he really sucks. But if you get a legendary, you get him, you kind of cringe a little bit. You're like, oh my god, I just got a legendary and it's crap. But there's always game balancing going on. I'm sure there are players that got him that's complaining to the makers of the game, this dude sucks, you got to rebalance him. So at some point there's hope that they'll change him and he'll be good again. For example, I heard recently one of the characters here that was quite popular. Let me see if we can find her. Yeah, here we go. She was apparently really good before I started the game. And look at her ratings now, because apparently the developers nerfed her. And once they nerfed her, a lot of people were pretty pissed off because they spent a lot of resources and time getting her to this level, and then they made her sucky. So you kind of have to collect them and hold on to them for that reason, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, you may end up thinking, oh, this character is mediocre, I don't care, I burn her away, and then next thing you know, you need her for some kind of tournament, or you need her because now she's ultra powerful because they buffed her, or you had some awesome character and they nerfed the character, and now you're stuck without any other characters. Not a good thing. So it's a big collection game. I'm going to collect, and I'm going to enjoy collecting. Tournaments are fun to get into, but energy gets burned up pretty quick. Events are cool because if you do them right, you can actually earn nice rewards. For example, I'm about to get 75 energy if I just upgrade some more armor and weapons. Upgrading and money. Oh my god. This is going to get used so fast. You earn it kind of okay speed, but you burn it up upgrading this stuff so fast it's ridiculous. Basically, at the higher levels, your chances of upgrading becomes slim to none, and it costs you 10,000 a try. And you could try 20 times before you upgrade something. So that at 20,000 a pop sometimes, okay, that's 400,000 money for one level of upgrade for some of these down the line. So get ready to spend a lot of money and get ready to grind for a lot of money. So these are the things, resource-wise, time-wise, these things really eats up your gameplay time and your grinding time. But since the game is about level progressions and that kind of stuff, that's basically the game. The game is grind. If you don't mind RPG grinding and you're kind of nerdy like me and like numbers and stats and try to figure out how to manipulate stats to your favor, you'll like this game. You'll get into this kind of game. And again, the autoplay makes it tolerable. I'm going to keep playing this game. I'm really enjoying it. You could probably see that since I got kind of lucky and I got some good stuff, I've already spent like $4.99 for one of the beginner player packs. Oh, and that brings me to this point. No free-to-play game is truly free in the way they design it. It's designed to be free to be played if you want to be free, but there's going to be all kinds of stuff they're going to throw at you to try to tempt you into spending. And some of this stuff is okay, I guess, but my feeling is anything that costs more than $4.99, I'm not going to buy. I just don't see it being worth it. And then you have to kind of evaluate what you're getting for your $4.99 to see if it's worth it. I got some kind of beginner offer that actually gave me 4 of these and a bunch of that for $4.99. That I bought. Okay. Didn't really give me anything good. I got these. Well, these two I won from the tournament, but I got this guy. Wait, nobody in the vault. So, this guy was actually pretty decent, and one other guy that I think I already used for something. So, I got. Oh no, those are the 3. What am I saying? I got 3 shards. So I got 1, 2, and 3. So I did pretty good, and that's the stuff that really, if you want to spend a few bucks, that's what I would spend on. I mean, I wouldn't really spend on like $50 for this. That doesn't even. You can do that on your own just by grinding. So there's no point to do that. And that's where I'm at with this game. Again, the fun part for me is just kind of looking at the characters and going, ooh, it'd be nice if I could get a hold of one of these guys. You know, because they just look cool. These are the lizardmen. So, pretty cool. And then some of the epic and legendary champions have some really cool designs. Look at these guys. I mean, just really well done. And they actually still look like this in the battle, which is great too. The other fun part is, if you check this out, the bosses at these levels, right? A lot of them are nothing more than the legendary characters you can get in the game. So, for example, this guy here at the end So all these guys are characters, right? These are all characters you can get, and they retain the same skills. So one of the things I sometimes watch for is I see if any of these characters are particularly obnoxious. If they're obnoxious against you, chances are if you own them, you're going to be obnoxious against them. So those are the ones you always keep an eye out for, because you can check them out in the character data piece. I forgot what that's called. But anyway, you can check them out there, read their stats, look at their skills and powers, and figure out if they're any useful. So check this guy out. Isn't he cool looking? Big old shield. And the beauty of this is a lot of these guys that you're fighting, minus maybe the dungeon bosses, you can actually get in the game. I mean, you got to be really lucky in some sense, but you have a chance of getting them. And that's kind of nice. I always like the idea that you can do more than just basic, I can only earn these cheesy characters, but I can't ever see a big boss on my team. Alright, so that was Mr. Shield, right? Let's go look for him. In the index, that's what it's called. In the index, there he is. Lord Chamfort, level 60. He's a legendary. And Lord Chamfort is rated mediocre. I mean, he wasn't that hard to kill but still pretty cool to be able to get what is essentially a level boss as your personal character. I mean, even if he kind of isn't all that great, just looking at him, I mean, look at this guy. I wouldn't mind having him on the team. And the same goes for some of these. Some of these other ones are also potentially like level bosses and stuff that you can get, and they're kind of fun. So that's part of the fun of the game. You're just collecting stuff and hoping to get a cool character. Look at this guy, Tomb Lord. They have some repeat of the armor styles. For example, this guy really looks a lot like this guy, right? But it is done differently, and there's enough unique armor sets that things are just interesting. Here's another guy that's a variation of another guy. So here and here. But still, there's enough variation designs that they don't all look identical, and they do look cool in their own way. Here's a fun looking dude. He's actually a good character too. He's one of those annoying ones you fight in the map, but you can actually win him. Finally, as a free-to-play player, okay, what do I see here progression-wise? I don't know. I think at least this game isn't hitting you with paywalls too quick. I mean, I'm only 2-3 weeks into this, so I can't really talk a whole lot. But what I find is that the paywall situation isn't too severe with this. You can get to hard and eventually to brutal, right, if your character's upgraded enough. It's just a matter of grinding through all this stuff. The other thing is that there's slim chances of you getting some rare characters just from playing. So that's good too, because if you really want to build her up, for example, you can keep playing these stages and you'll get your money, you'll get your experience points, you could build up trash to burn for better characters, and in the meantime, once in a while you get lucky and get her, and then you can use that particular character's drop. I forgot what these are called, but anyway, you get that particular character, you can burn them to upgrade your main version of the character. For example, this one, I can upgrade her skills. If I had one of her at level 1, I can burn it and then upgrade my skills up, which is something I want to do too. So some of these characters you could grind to max level without ever pulling shards or buying anything, and that's not too bad. So my adventures in this game just started. I really like the game. I plan to keep playing it simply because it's a simple game to play. It doesn't seem to require huge investment on my part other than some time, and that's what we play games for anyway, just to burn up some time. I will keep making videos to show my progression in the game. Maybe when I make my guy into 5 stars, I'll get through hard and be able to get into brutal. I'm gonna keep playing in this little tournament I just started, which is actually fighting this guy. Little rough for me because I don't really have a legitimate healer here. I could take out her to put in a healer, or I'll take him out. But taking him out actually reduces my damage output a little bit. But she's not that great right now, so while I could keep playing in this tournament, I have a feeling I won't come out on the top because the other guys have already quite a bit of points ahead of me. On the other hand, I still would prefer to play it on auto. I really don't want to grind each round personally, so I'm just kind of leaving it like this and let the computer do its job. Alright, and that's my first introduction for my subscribers here on Raid Shadow Legends. I know this is probably not the kind of game you care about, but hey, I like it, and I'll continue to put videos out for it. In the meantime, feel free to comment whether you play this style game or not, whether it's something that you may check out now that I've shown it to you, and let me know what your feelings are about it. As always, I appreciate you watching my videos, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.